What's up, Justin? I'm about to start the Lakers pack, Laker pack in the air. What's up, everybody? We'll get started shortly. I'm sorry that I am late. Just had to take care of some things. Lakers 10 seed this year, man. The trolling has begun, Tar Heel Nation. I know I've been gone for a couple days, but oh man, the trolling has officially begun. But before we do, I'm gonna get Tyrese on here, and then we'll talk about this in a little bit. But yes. We will talk about the Bulls a little bit. I think we'll talk about them Friday, Justin, because we are going to be doing a breakdown of the NBA season on Friday. So I'll let you know what is going on with that on Friday. So be tuned for that. Kind of looking forward to talking that with you guys and seeing where things can go from there. So definitely be tuned in when we do talk about that. Man, I feel like I'm always wearing this shirt. Sorry, I'm sorry to kind of like burst out or like kind of think things out in my mind, but like I feel like I wear this shirt all the time, so I need to change up my wardrobe here. Let's see here. Let's go to Discord and get Tyrese on here really quick. It's gonna be, man, he looks really good, man. The jumper looks so fluid right now. But let me get Justin on here, or sorry, not Justin. Let me get Tyrese on here to talk. So give me 1 second, everybody. Alrighty, everybody. We are live and we got Tyrese in the building. Tyrese, how you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
Can't complain too much, you know. Back from a little vacay, a little vacay a little bit. So, you know, ready to get rock and rolling on this live stream.
Let's do it.
You know, we got a lot of things to talk about. Today is not necessarily going to be one about kind of the preseason stuff. That actually is going to be on Friday. My boy Pete has requested his time off. He's gotten some time. So Friday, we will be talking about the NBA preseason. Maybe we'll talk a little bit here and there tonight. But we got to talk a lot about more so about the Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown interview. I know that you wanted to talk about that specifically. So I'll kind of let you lead that once we're done kind of doing little intros here and there. And we also have, of course, to talk about this Ben Simmons reporting for his money. You know, as soon as he saw that the money was leaving and he was going to get none of that back, he said, all right, Rich Paul basically told him, you're taking that next flight to Philly and you're basically going to report for training camp. And so we're really going to get into that stuff. And before we do, guys, just want to let you know that we are here on The Charge, bringing you the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. We'll also, guys, talk about a little bit more so about the Lakers, kind of like more so the preseason stuff, what we've been seeing, what we've been liking. I do want to talk a little bit about the Bulls because I saw Alonzo's jumper. It looks absolutely magnifique. And before we get started there, just want to let you guys know that we do have a donation link if you guys are interested in donating to the channel. We also have merch as well. Tyrese got his mug finally. It took a long time, but I
finally got it.
How's the quality on the mug? How would you rate it?
The quality is really good. I mean, I would give it a 10. It's very durable and it has a really large handle to where, you know, my hands are kind of large, so it's some mugs are kind of snug on the handle. But yeah, it's really well.
And so, guys, you can get the mug just like Tyrese got one here on The Charge, Streamlabs type of thing. Again, guys, once we get to 1,000 subscribers, I want to get off of this stuff as much as possible so we can start actually, creating our own stuff, creating our own brand. And I really want to get, a lot more new overlays as well. I think I have an overlay in the works right now. I'm still pending on some of that stuff. So be on the lookout for new overlays. Be on the lookout for some merch stuff. But the only way that's going to happen, guys, is if we get to that magic 1,000 number. That's the only way we're going to be able to be on the air, be able to dominate the stream waves by having you guys subscribe to the channel, really support it, and then we can start giving back to the community. I want to give back to you guys as soon as we hit that magic 1,000 number. So tell your friends, tell everybody that's interested in basketball, and kind of wants to give their opinions on basketball stuff in general. let me know, and I'll definitely we'll definitely get them subscribed, and then we'll do some giveaways and really really talk about the NBA the way that it's supposed to be. But enough of me kind of promoting myself. It is what it is with that stuff. We have got to start with this Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum news. Tyrese, do you want to lead it off?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was kind of shocked by the interview, um, you know, of them addressing it to the world because there's a lot of, saying out there how they can't coexist and, how they kind of pick like, go at each other during the games and whatnot and
Mm-hmm.
who's getting the shot. I still, I just don't think they're close like how Jaylen Brown was trying to make it seem, even though like his cousin babysits Deuce or whatever. But I just think like, I don't know. I feel like they're cool, like they don't have nothing against each other, but they're just not like close like how they made it seem in the interview. Like, I know they're happy for one another, but I still think there's that level of competition
Mm-hmm.
between those two on the court of like, I'm the guy, or Jaylen
Right.
Brown like saying I'm the guy. Because I noticed Jason sometimes like Jaylen will hit like, three shots in a row, like three threes. And then Jason, he'll just do like some crazy dribbling, step back and try to
Mm-hmm.
like, not try to take the shine away, but I don't know. I just noticed little stuff like that. But um I don't know. I don't make too much of the interview how a lot of people did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just kind of want to reiterate some of the things that went on in that interview. So if we kind of look at the quotes, Brown said that his relationship with Jayson Tatum, which he believes is centered around respect, has definitely grown a lot, and that he enjoys playing with him. And this is what he kind of continues on saying for his actual quote: "We both put in a lot into the game, regardless of what I do off the court or what people think I do off the court." Brown told reporters Wednesday at Celtics training camp, "I respect Jayson, and he's one of the best players in this game. I think he can be one of the best players when it's all said and done. I think the same about myself. So I think respect is what this relationship is centered around." And then Brown shot down the narrative that there needs to be a Batman and a Robin, um, and that him and Tatum are two guys that can hoop. Um, and that's perfectly fine. I kind of want to kind of piggyback off what you said. Like, I don't think this interview is
Yeah.
really like exposing anything. Like, there's no sort of like key thing that Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown said about one another that I'm like, wow, I didn't
Hmm.
really think about that. It's more so like I think it's to appease Celtics fans and to appease people from being like, well, do these guys like each other? The way that they play on the
Exactly.
court, it's not really conducive to maybe the way that winning games. But what I will say about this whole thing for Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown is that the Celtics have they basically dedicated their future and basically their future on these two guys. Um,
Hmm.
Obviously the bench players are still a little shaky. We're still kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. I know this is supposed to be Romeo Langford's breakout year, right? Every year we talk about Romeo Langford in his breakout year. Um, and you're hoping
Yeah.
that this is his breakout year, because at the same time, we look at everything and you want to see Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum dominate like they usually do. The problem with this Celtics team is going to be their role players and what they're going to get out of them. We talk about guys like Romeo Langford. We talk about guys like Naismith, Peyton Pritchard, who I really like. I think he's a great player. Just, I want to see a little bit more out of him. Um, in terms of like, really solidifying himself as that backup point guard now for the Celtics. And then, of course, you got like Al Horford, back on the team after a little stint with the 76ers and then the Thunder. What's he going to be looking like? And then, of course, you have so many other things going on. With the Celtics right now that I'm really concerned. And what I mean by concerned, it's more so like, how's it all going to fit together? Is Robert Williams going to finally be healthy enough to where he's going to contribute a lot on the floor? And that I don't know. And that's the thing that I'm still waiting to kind of see about Robert Williams. But we'll see what
Yeah.
happens, man. I mean, I know I kind of went on a little soliloquy right there. Tyrese, do you have anything kind of? Well, I mean, what's your kind of expectation for the season? I know it's really up and down for Celtics fans. Some are really high on them. Some people are
Hmm.
really low. Like I'm probably one of the lower ones because I'm not really convinced with the bench and kind of the role players
Yeah.
for those two.
Yeah, I'm not really convinced either. I mean, Romeo Langford looked good, Grant Williams looked good, but then again, it's like these teams aren't giving their full effort, you know? So it's like Grant Williams could dribble the ball up and nobody's not going to try to press him like how it would have been, you know, how it would be in a regular season. So
Hmm.
I'm kind of neutral on how we will be. I guess I just have to see.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put too much credit for them right now until I actually see some production.
Yeah, and that's my thing too. You know, we can look at the preseason, and even then, my thing is like regular season. I don't really care about too much because I know what these guys are about. They'll hoop against anybody, and you know they can be the crappiest teams, they can be the best teams. Um,
Yeah.
and you know we've
Because at the
seen,
end of the day, they're still professional players. So it's
yeah,
like,
yeah, and you're right. I mean, they're professional players. They're doing their job, and they'll probably do it really well. But my thing is like, can these guys do it when it matters most? Can they do it in the playoffs? Can they do it when Boston is down, two to three in a series, and they need two wins in a row to move on? Like, can I rely on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to do that along with the bench players and the role players? Like, I'm not trying to disrespect guys like Dennis Schroeder, Robert Williams, Grant Williams, like. Those dudes are hoopers. They're ballers. They're professionals. Obviously, much better than me. But at the
right.
same time, we've seen the song and dance time and time again, and they just did not convince me this offseason. Like Grant Williams to me is still the same Grant Williams.
Hmm.
Romeo Langford, as much as I would love to be like, yes, this is going to finally be the year that Romeo Langford gets it. I just can't believe that. And then Naismith, it's the same thing. We saw last year. I know he got hurt. But at the same time, it's like Naismith didn't really add anything to our team as well. So,
Well,
Celtics fans, you have to. We'll see what goes on there.
yeah, we'll have to see, but I will say this, the one positive thing we do have going for us is having Al back because I think a lot of those young guys are gonna want to learn from under Al.
Hmm.
Jayson and Jalen and Marcus, they vouch for him all that, not vouch, but you know what I mean. They
Yeah.
give him credit for pretty much raising them, about 3, 4 years ago. So I think Grant Williams is loving going under Al Horford's wing right now,
Hmm.
and I think Romeo is too. So I wouldn't say they're going to be like six mans, but I think we could at least get like 8 points out of Romeo. Some type of like contribution.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but then again, we'll just have to see. I mean, like again, I don't think we're gonna beat the Bucks. We're not gonna beat the Heat in a 7 game, but who knows? I mean, the one key guy I do like who we have back is Al Horford because he can, he adds so much diversity to his game of different styles.
Hmm.
So I mean, we're gonna have to see. I mean, the season's coming up. I'm juiced, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the crazy thing about it right now is that we're just a week away from the regular season, which makes it seem like it's forever. But um, we're really gearing up for this NBA season. The preseason for NBA is so much different than football. Football, of course, they have like 3 to 4 games. I think this year was 3. Meanwhile, basketball, you have a couple, but it's to grind for an 82 game season. Whereas the NFL
Plus
now it's
playoffs.
16 games, 17 games. And then you got playoffs as well with a best of 7 series. So it's gonna really challenge us in that aspect. What I'm really looking forward to for the Celtics team is who are going to be the guys to step up in that bench role for us. We talk about Udoka now finally being there. We got Brad Stevens. He was able to do, what he could with that team. Obviously failed to what we were expecting them to do. You know, really should have went to the NBA finals a couple of times, failed in that aspect. And you want to see more out of this team. And so we'll see what Udoka can do with these guys. I'm really hyped for Robert Williams this year. I know you're not. Well, not hyped, but you're not as
Bullish on him.
bullish on him as I am. Like, I think he'll be
Yeah.
a really good player for us. His 4th season. I think this is also a make or break it year for him. Obviously got the
Mhm.
contract. He could just be happy and just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna chill now. But I really think you're gonna get a really great Robert Williams. Marcus Smart got his new contract. I'm curious to see how he's gonna do. I still think he should come off the bench for us, but he probably will start.
Wait, you
And
said who again?
Marcus Smart.
I don't think he's gonna start. I think it's gonna be Dennis, game one, just to see, because we already know what we have with Marcus if we start. Like,
Mm-hmm.
We already know what we're gonna get. So I think they're gonna roll out with Dennis just because he can get to the paint and something different. You know, he's
Yeah.
he's more aggressive driver than Marcus.
We got a lot of people in the chat. Sean, you said Bernie's emails are getting leaked next time. Sorry, I'm no John Gruden, so we're good there. Otherwise, I would not
Yeah,
be working at the I would not be working at the school if I had those type of emails. Uh,
yeah. Be
Tario
careful with those
Nation,
emails.
Tario Nation, you said really wish the Celtics kept Matisse Thybulle in 19. That would have been nice. Um, and
Yeah,
then
that would have been nice. I
Sean,
wanted Thibault too.
Sean, you said Corey Kispert is really just a better Corey Kispert is really just a better Jayson Tatum. All right, you need to stop with this malarkey that's going on here, Sean. I know you're a Gonzaga guy. We'll probably talk about Kispert. I know he had his first his debut for the Zags. But kind of going back to the Celtics and kind of staying on topic because this is a also recorded video for the people watching later on that are not live streaming with us. Tyrese, I mean, we talked about it before. I mean, what do you expect from both the Jalen's this year, or the Jays, I should say? Like, are you expecting both these guys to be all stars, all NBA guys? Like, what's your prediction for the Jays this year? Because I think that's really what's going to make or break us. What's going to make or break it for us for the Celtics are
Mhm.
those two guys. And so, what do you predict for them in the future?
I think both guys are going to be solid. I honestly, I'm a little bit more bullish on Jaylen Brown. I think he could be our leading scorer this year. And yeah, I think they're going to do fine. I think Jaylen Brown's going to do very well though. He might average anywhere from 26 points a game. So, um, yeah, I think both are going to do very well. I just think Jaylen Brown, he's going to really show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we don't really need, I mean, we need Jayson. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna say we don't need him, but I think he's gonna show to where it's like, you know, if it came down to it, and we need some guys for the bench and a more completed roster to even trade him, that he can hold it down and be the first, you know, the first option.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna do really well this year.
Yeah, I'm
But
really
both are.
I'm really bullish on Jayson Tatum this year. Like, I really do think that he could make an All NBA second team. I know last year I think he was. I don't even think he made one last year.
Yeah,
Um,
he didn't. I don't think.
really should have made it over Simmons. I know they're gonna argue Simmons is a point guard, but again, that might just be my bias with Simmons. So I'm gonna check myself there at the door with Simmons. But I really do think that Jayson Tatum can make a knock for that first team All NBA, and I think he definitely will make the second team. Like, I've seen the
Oh
progression
yeah,
with him.
definitely.
Again, his game is not something that like is gonna appease like the basketball coach in me. Like, the basketball coach in me is gonna kind of kind of freak out a little bit because you want to you can see that there's better shots out there, but you trust your athletes out there, and that's something that a lot of coaches, I'm sure Udoka had to get used to it. I'm sure that Brad Stevens, I was trying to think of his name. Brad Stevens, I'm sure, really got used to it because of the way that he used to play from his rookie year to where he's at now. But I really do think that Jayson Tatum's going to take that next step, and I really do think that he could really be challenging for the scoring title this year.
Really?
I just think he has explosive. I mean, especially with the way that our team's constructed. I mean, it's basically Jayson Tatum's the number one option, and everybody else get out the way. And I know that Jaylen Brown is going to take that next step up because I see it with him.
I
But at the same time, I really think that he's going to, make it so that we're going to be challenging,
Mhm.
probably for the 6th or 7th seed. To be honest with you, like, again, am I
Yeah.
like as a team wise thing? I'm not expecting too much from us because I think at the end of the day, this is a team game, and if you're not getting the production out of guys like Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, well, I mean, you'll get that production, but what I meant to say more so was like if you're not getting the production from like your bench guys, because those guys are the ones that are going to make or break it for us, like I've been saying,
Oh yeah.
for this season. I just don't think that those guys are really going to bring their A game to the point where, it can safely get the Boston Celtics to like that 5th or 6th seed, or sorry, that 4th or 5th seed, where I think it's going to be more so 6th or 7th. So we're going to be battling for, in my opinion.
No, I agree with the seeding. I just think with Udoka's mindset of passing the ball around, I think that benefits Jaylen Brown a lot because Jaylen Brown's more of a mover than Jason Tatum. So
Hmm.
I think that's going to benefit him a lot in getting to the cup, etc. I mean, he averaged damn near 25 a game. Um, so I think I don't think it is Jason and everybody get out the way. I think it's my turn, your turn type. Some games Jaylen might take over, some
Hmm.
games Jason might take over.
Yeah.
Because Jaylen Brown's, some could argue he's even a more consistent scorer than Jason Tatum. Um, because he just he can do it all, man. Like he can get to the cup. He doesn't try to
Hmm.
do too much. Sometimes Jason, he can get out of control and just trying to put the team on his back too much.
Yeah.
And but I think Jaylen is a more efficient player than Jason,
Yeah. I mean,
personally. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
think Jason's a more talented player. But I think Jalen's a more proficient, such as shot efficiency, shot selection, getting
Hmm.
to the cup, etc. But
Yeah.
Jason's more talented, yeah. Better
Yeah, I mean,
scorer.
I do agree with that. I do think that Jalen is more efficient in that aspect. I mean, we saw it last year, the jump that he made, even from like his last
Huge
year,
leap.
like just a huge leap. And so I think we're gonna get the same old with Jalen. I don't think he's gonna necessarily do too much to be like, okay, now I'm gonna take that next step where I'm like scoring like 30, you know, maybe 30 to 32 points a game. Where I do
Oh
believe
no
that you're
no
gonna
no.
get that from like Jason. But I do agree with you in the sense that he'll be a consistent scorer. Like
But
he'll probably be like his like, maybe 10 for 17 type of deal with like 4 or 5 from 3 point land, or like maybe 4 of 6, and really just kind of hone that, like that's my role for the team. And I really think for the Celtics to get beyond what we're talking about, Tyrese, in terms of like that next level of like, okay, we're really going to be contending for the championship. I do
mhm.
think, in my opinion, Jason Tatum has to take that next step, and kind of be like his idol Kobe. I mean, I think that when we look at the stuff that Jason Tatum loves about Kobe, I think there is some things where I do recognize that he is a Kobe Bryant fan, but there
Mhm.
is some things about Kobe that he needed to adjust his game in order to win those last 2 championships for the Lakers. And I need Jason Tatum to know that earlier rather than later in his career.
I think Jason just needs to be more aggressive. I know he
Like
put on
attacking.
some pounds and yeah, like just get into the basket like playing bully ball, like Emma was saying, like if he can do that, we'll be very successful. And for Jalen, I just think he needs to play a lot of good. I think he needs to get back to that 2016 type defense he was playing. I don't know. A
Hmm.
lot of forget he was he's a good defensive player, but I feel like he kind of took a step back. If he could get towards like that
Yeah.
2016 defensive player, remember this is a guy who was locking up KD, man. Like in
Yeah.
2016, 2017. Like he was a great defensive player, then he just took a step back and tried to go full offense. Like if he can
Yeah.
balance that, like oh my God, we're dangerous.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I
mhm,
no. The only thing I was gonna say is like, I mean, he had to for the sake of our team, with the
yeah,
way
that's
that
true.
it's like it's Jason Tatum, and then who else is gonna really get the scoring? Like, and that's
Exactly. And
something
Al
that,
was gone as well.
yeah, and so that's kind of like what we had to rely on. So at the end of the day, I don't think we're gonna necessarily I don't think we're gonna get that Jaylen Brown back unless we get another third superstar. Um,
Hmm.
but I am excited to see our future and what it really holds for us, because I really do. I think there is some exciting parts. Now the question for me is going to be with these guys is, especially next season, when, apparently rumor is that when we're going to be really targeting a free agent. Uh, and then that,
Honestly, I wouldn't wait until next year. I would
I
try to
mean, I
start
wouldn't
looking
either.
out for for the bench. Like we need depth, man. Like screw like you don't need three guys on the floor to win a chip. Like you just need guys
Yeah.
who can play D and play their role, like what the Bucks did. Look at the
Yeah.
Suns. Like they don't have three superstars who are 25 points per game scorers. Like you don't need that. You need
Yeah.
guys who are play their role
Hmm.
and not complain. That's it. And until then, honestly, I don't even think we need a third superstar. We just need really solid role player veterans. we could
Hmm.
get that, we're solid. Like we're back to 2017, 2018 levels.
Yeah. I mean that's the thing, we'll see how it continues for us as we, progress through the season, as we kind of do a midway point check and all these other things to kind of really see where the Celtics are at this coming season. What I will say is that I am excited for the NBA to come back, especially for Boston games and Boston
Yeah.
fans. I'm sure they're excited to be there at the TD Garden, really celebrating with their team. And I think that's what I'm really looking forward to for the season, and I'm really looking forward to see, what are we gonna, I think this is kind of Romeo Langford's, not saying prove it year, but I'm just hoping that we get something out of him because he's gonna come under scrutiny for that draft because of Tyler Hero and all this other stuff. I know I've been harsh in saying that we should have taken Tyler Hero,
Hmm.
but I would love to see like Romeo Langford prove me wrong, and at least contribute to the team in a really
Yeah.
impactful manner.
I think he could. It just has to, Brad wasn't giving him a lot of play, so it's kind of hard to get in rhythm. So I
Yeah,
think we've seen a little glimpse of what he could do if he's getting opportunity,
yeah,
it's easy to scrutinize someone who's not getting rhythm, who's sitting damn near 85% of the games on the bench, besides if it's garbage time. So I think he can, average 10 if he's given, 20 to 22 minutes a game.
yeah. But we'll see what happens. Let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of this Jason Tatum story? Do you guys like the idea that they respect each other? Do you like the idea that they really aren't saying anything about Batman and Robin? Or do you think that there needs to be that one dominant person in a relationship, no matter what it is, whether it's a marriage or whether it is just a casual relationship or whether it's like just two bros? Um,
Yeah.
what do you guys make of that? And let us know in the comment section down below because I really love to know your guys' opinion on Boston Celtics. What are your guys' take if you are a Boston Celtics fan? Do you guys like the fact that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have talked about this on air? Let us know in the comment section down below. All right, Tyrese, we got to talk about it. It's time. And I know
What
that
what
this is kind of like the Ben Simmons News Network Center here. If I had a
it's
little
time?
if I had a little, kind of breaking news thing, I would play it. But nevertheless, we have got to talk about this Ben Simmons news because it is reported that Ben Simmons and the 76ers are working on a resolution to report to the
He's
team.
crawling back.
He's crawling back. A
Oh
submissive and
man.
breedable question mark? Are you talking about for the relationship, Sean? Yeah, I kind of
Oh
messed up
man.
with that. I should have went with a different analogy for that, but it is what it is for that one. Nevertheless, we do
Oh
have to talk
man.
about this Ben Simmons stuff. So
Yes, we
let
do.
me read what Adrian Wojnarowski said in his tweet and just kind of what he said in general. The 76ers and Rich Paul have progressed in the talks on a resolution to bring Simmons back to the team in the near future. Discussions are ongoing, and the plan is for the 76ers to continue to canvass the league for acceptable trades. The 76ers, however, also want to convince Simmons to remain with the team long term. The chances have increased that Simmons will report to the 76ers over the past few days. With the Monday's preseason game, Simmons will move past the $1 million mark in terms of lost pay. So, Tyrese, we've talked about it before on this channel numerous amount of times. It seems like the first person to cave in this relationship was Ben Simmons, and I think it's clear and obvious why he caved back. What are your thoughts on this Ben Simmons sort of news? I'll let you have the floor first, and then I'll kind of speak and do my
Okay, thank
soliloquy.
Okay, awesome. Well, I just think Rich Paul is, he's getting tired of not seeing his checks come. Because I mean, the guy missed out $8.5 million for not even just reporting to the Sixers or to Sixers camp. So, this they don't want this to become a long-term seasonal thing of not getting paid, especially Rich, because he's getting you know, he's one of the biggest free agents, or not free agents, I should say, but free, you know, um, people in the league who represent players. So I think, he just doesn't want that on his resume as representing players he kind of just doesn't reach out to teams and try to work things out. So I think
Hmm.
that's just what he's trying to do now. Um, But then again, you know, they might just be looking at it from a perspective of, if we hold out, this is hurting our value. Like you're not gonna, a lot of teams aren't gonna want you.
Hmm.
Like, so they could just be trying to fix a relationship that's broken already. But I mean, you can try, but I just don't see Philly as a city accepting him back. So I just can't see that. Yeah, he could play maybe 20 games and examine on what he worked on this summer.
Hmm.
Maybe that's what they're trying to discuss. But as him being there long term, a 82 game season, I just don't think it's gonna happen. I think he's just there to showcase of what he's worked on at different organizations to, get a package together to try to draw him to their team. But, I think this is just a trial with the Sixers to show other teams.
Yeah. I mean, my take on this whole thing, of course, this is a situation where Ben Simmons, he was, looking at the finances and he saw that, oh shoot, I can't make these car payments, or like, there's a lot of stuff coming up and I
On
kind of need
Bel Air
that money.
Mansion payment.
Yep, mansion payment, there's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff, like especially when you're missing game checks. And you're going to be missing
$8.5
like
million. dollars.
8.5 mil. I mean, that's a lot of money to just
That's
kind of be like, especially with the lifestyle that he likes to live.
yes.
If he was going to go
High
modest,
expensives.
yep. If he's going to go modest means, then hey, you know what? You'll be fine. Missing out on the 8.9. But when you are
Yep.
consistently, spending the way that Ben Simmons does, you're definitely going to be going back and reporting to training camp immediately. I just think that this
Yeah.
was a huge backfire on Rich Paul and Ben Simmons, because look, as much as I would love to, you know, give players the benefit of the doubt, the player empowerment movement, or the players empowerment movement. The problem with it sometimes is that it can also go the other way far, and kind of be abusive at times with that type of power. And we saw that with Rich Paul and Ben Simmons. They were like, well, we're not going to report to training camp. You're not going to do anything to us. But then, the NBA PA and the 76ers worked it out, or maybe they didn't work it out, but the 76ers ran it by the NBA PA and be like, well, if Ben Simmons doesn't show up, do we have to pay him? And, the NBA PA said, no, we
Yeah.
don't, you don't have to pay him. And then that kind of led to the demise of it. But, Simmons could realistically just be like reporting to training camp and then be like, my tailbone, like it just hurts. And just kind of get paid that way. And again, I think to me, it's like the
Load
76ers.
management.
Yeah, load management. I still think to me the 76ers have all the leverage, as much as people want to say that Ben Simmons does. The reason why I think that the organization does is because, look, they don't have to make a trade. They paid him the max money that he was owed for signing that rookie max extension afterwards. So they don't really have to give him a lot of money. Or they don't have to give him another contract anytime soon. And, they're not going to want to trade Ben Simmons for, 15 cents to the dollar, because
Yeah.
Ben Simmons is not happy there. And to me, my issue with Simmons is that, like, if you gave it your all, like if you literally just said, like, I'm giving it 1,000%, I gave everything to the organization. I just can't win here. I really respect the city of Philadelphia, but it just isn't working for me. Then I would be like, okay, you know what? Maybe, he has a point. But the problem is I don't think that he has done that.
No.
And it's as simple as just him not working on his jump shot. And I hate to kind of bring it back to that simplest terms with Ben Simmons, and kind of like the simplest solution to his problem with Philadelphia right now. But it's like, when you haven't done any of that stuff to work on your game to become the next best player, and you stay stagnant, a lot of people aren't going to be on your side supporting you. Like, there's a reason why a lot of people supported the James Harden move more so than anybody. Maybe not Houston Rockets fans, but the reason why they support it is because they saw the work he put in. He's won the MVP. He's, become this sort of all-star, all-NBA player. Meanwhile, you have Ben Simmons, who, enjoys, being a great defender and an average offensive player.
Yeah, and I just to go back to this
Yeah,
a
but
little bit, and he's Simmons just reportedly he arrives in Philly and he took his COVID test, so he's in Philly right now. I guess he just landed not
oh,
too or a
nice.
couple hours ago. So yeah, then again, maybe Rich said, hey, he probably went to Michael Rubin and the other front management and probably just said, "Hey, like I'll talk to the news outlets on, I don't want to make it seem like because they talk to these reporters, like the headlines are everything. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like Ben Simmons isn't gonna come out and say like, "Oh, I'm sorry" and all this. Like he's just gonna go there and try to prove himself. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think the Sixers probably straight up told him like, "We can't. You just don't have any value right now. Like
Right.
I can't imagine the teams that are willing to dump to take well not dump but take on his salary
Mm-hmm.
for a whole year. There's just not a lot of teams who are willing to give up assets right now.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I just think it's more of a trial to show other teams of what he's worked on and
Mm-hmm.
maybe 20 to 30 games and then he's going to be gone somewhere, maybe like LA or maybe the Clippers. I mean, Kawhi's out. Maybe they trade Kawhi. Maybe they do trade Kawhi. Who knows? Maybe the Clippers look forward maybe 5 to 7 years from now and say, "Hey, Ben Simmons is young. Kawhi
Mm-hmm.
Leonard, 5 to 7 years from now, who knows how he's going to be in? Who knows? Maybe they do a swap. Um, because Kawhi is injured, we don't know how he's going to come back, and we don't know how Ben Simmons is going to be in 5 years. So, I mean, we'll see. But I think right now he's just showcasing of what he worked on to other teams. I don't
Yeah.
think this is like, oh yeah, Ben, stay with us. Like, they're probably portraying it like that, like the team really wants him, and the owners and
Yeah.
everybody probably talked to Joel and probably said like, when you go to the podium, just say like, you want Ben
Mm-hmm.
back and you really want him to play on the team, but probably Joel probably doesn't want him on the team for all we know, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
because he has to say the right things.
Yeah, I mean, both these guys have to say the right things. And my thing
Yeah,
for this whole situation with the Ben Simmons stuff, I kind of said it time and time again. I really think that the bridge is burned between the organization and Ben Simmons. I think it's burned between Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. And I've been kind of saying this for the last couple of years now with Ben Simmons is like the guy hasn't yet shown that next step in growing and becoming that
he
player
hasn't.
that we wanted.
Nope.
Selfishly, I wanted him to be like this Magic Johnson type of player because I see it.
Yeah,
Um, but I just think maybe the way that he was brought up, maybe as always being the best player, it's like why do I work on stuff to get better? In terms of like why am I working to get better if I'm already athletically gifted in that aspect? And I just think that has been kind of his Achilles heel is that maybe he's been the best player for too long that he hasn't really noticed that,
yeah.
oh shoot, like now I need to change my game because
I,
his biggest complaint obviously was the fact that he's like, well, you're not really playing to my strengths. My strengths are I want everything out the way and let me just drive and attack the rim. And
exactly.
the problem is that yes, I can see you do that against the Utah Jazz one night out of the whole NBA year and do that. Like that's awesome. But I've yet to see that consistently from Ben Simmons. Like game to game, night in, night out, I don't see that consistent. Ben Simmons is going to put it in the hoop each and every night like a Giannis does or like any of these other players that play around the league. Like I don't see that from him. And I know that Gilbert Arenas was talking about it on his podcast. I know that, a lot of people are like, well, Ben Simmons just needs to be given an opportunity to play in the offense that he wants. And to me, it just reeks of like Paul George complaining about Doc Rivers not using him right. I just think that it's hard to kind of, to me, it's like it's hard to get those two guys, that being Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, to fit on the same team when they both want to do the same thing in the low post.
Yeah, I honestly like what you said. I think he's just used to doing everything and being the guy from when he was at
Mm-hmm.
Monteverde High School, and when he was at LSU. I mean, he was the main focal point. I just think I kind of feel like he has some type of Kyrie Irving thing going on. Like he just wants to be the guy and the focal point. Like he doesn't like other guys getting attention. Like I don't know, man. Like it just
Well,
doesn't make sense to why he would want to leave. Even though I understand like the city doesn't want him, but
uh-huh.
he's like not even trying to show up and like all that stuff. So it's kind of like, a lot of teams aren't going to want to trade for that because they don't know how you're going to be in the future if we trade for you and give you all this money. So, I feel like he's in a tough spot right now, but to stay for a couple months or 3 months,
Yeah.
and then, they'll probably be able to trade him. He'll have some value. But right now, he has no value.
Yeah. I mean, my first,
Like they would get some really cheap ass, like some really low tier
mhm.
like guys in a return, like nothing
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, my frustration with that though is that like, yeah, kind of going. We'll do it from your perspective or like what your points were. It's like, it's like you want to be the guy. We obviously, you've said like I don't want Joel in there now. Um, my frustration, and more so than anything, is the fact that if you really want to be the guy, if you really want to be the person that like you want to be the focal point of the offense, you want to, galvanize the team, you want to, be the person that you want everyone to think you are, then work on the games that and work on your game and kind of make that change that you've been promising
Hmm.
people. And that's the thing that I've yet to see from Ben Simmons at this point. Like I said, I don't want to continue to harp on him all the freaking time, but at the same time, the reason why I have to make these points is because I get frustrated with Ben Simmons when it's like I know what you want and I know what the organization wants, but when you don't put in the work and effort, on your jump shot when they've been asking you to do this for years now,
Hmm.
to me it's like it's just going on deaf ears. And if I'm one of these
Yeah.
organizations, I'm frustrated.
Yeah. Like I honestly deep down think he just has no value right now for what they want in return. He just
Yeah.
doesn't. They have to teams like they have to see more. They got to see what he's worked on, man, because that's a lot of money. Like, and
Yep.
this is a guy who's willing to miss money
Mm-hmm.
just for not showing up to training camp. So imagine if I trade for you and something goes wrong and you don't play.
Yeah.
Jersey sales go down, all of that stuff because it all adds up.
Yep.
So ticket sell, so it's like he has no value. He's a he's a solid player. He's not a scrub, but he's not to the standard that he thinks he probably is, or some executives think he is.
Yeah.
He's just a solid player, man. Like there's nothing wrong with that, but he's
Yeah.
not worth no $40 million.
Yeah.
No, in
Yeah.
my
And
opinion.
and that's the thing. It's like, for a solid player, I would rather pay like, 100 mil or like,
Yeah,
80
he's
mil.
he's to be honest, he's only worth like 17 to 18 million dollars. He's not worth. He's
Total
not.
or like a
To,
year.
oh no 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 yearly. So that would roughly be. You see, he would probably get 17 and then maybe 21 at his fourth. So he's roughly to me worth around. He's like Marcus Smart money, damn near Robert Williams to me, like 60 to $64 million.
Oh, damn.
He's yeah, to me he's a solid defender, man, but shit. I mean, Marcus Smart could do more than what he can do. He could shoot.
Yeah.
He's not scared. I mean, that's what I would pay for him. They
Well,
paid way over for him.
well, to me, it's like I'd rather pay Gary Trent Jr. or like
Yeah.
one of these other guys. Like, I'm not saying that Ben Simmons is a scrub. Obviously, like,
No.
I mean, maybe I'm going too much with Gary Trent, but what I will say about that though, more so, is that like, I know what Ben Simmons can do. Like, I know that he has the ability to do that stuff. My only situation, I just got the alert from ESPN about him arriving in Philadelphia.
Hmm.
Um, my concern with Ben Simmons has always been, you know, we trade for you, we pay you, we do all this for you, and it turns into a Darren Williams situation. And you got to really get to know these guys personally to know like whether or not they're really about that life, if they're about basketball, if they're about trying to do the right thing or trying to become you know the next superstar. And Ben Simmons, didn't really show that for these last couple of years. I always kind of made fun of him for like always being on FaZe Clan and doing all that stuff, and really focusing on the video game aspect of things, which is cool and all. But at the same
Yeah.
time, that's not your main profession. That's not what got you paid millions of dollars. I'm not saying that you got to, it's not like, I'm not saying like a shut up and dribble type of thing. But what I am saying is that like, you gotta back the money some way. Like, and doing the same thing over and over again is just the definition of insanity. Like, the 76ers aren't going to be wanting that same Ben Simmons from like 2016 to
Yeah.
2028, 29, 2030. Like, they don't want that type of Ben Simmons. They want a Ben
And, and
Simmons.
and it's not even just the team, it's the fans.
Yeah.
Like I have family in Philly, man. Like they don't want him back. Like they were disgusted. Like when they were up against the Raptors, I think it was in 2018,
Hmm.
and then they dropped the ball because Ben Simmons wasn't performing. Oh my God, they wanted him gone then.
Yeah.
Like not just the team, the city. Like they don't want him. When you don't have the city, your own fans wanting a guy,
Hmm.
that's tough
Yeah.
because that means there's no more jersey buys, no more people coming out to watch on tickets,
Hmm.
ticket purchases, all that stuff. So you're dropping revenues, and it's he's pretty much you want to trade him, but no team wants to trade for him because they have to see more.
Exactly.
So
And
pretty much this is like his audition.
yeah. And this is the
Yeah.
audition to see if you really, those YMCA videos, are they truthful when you're shooting them from like half court? And that's the thing that, a lot of
Yeah.
people, um, to me, like, I just get frustrated with that in just so many regards because, you look at a guy in Ben Simmons. We talked about it time and time again. I don't want to repeat it because otherwise I feel like we're just going to be talking for like 5 hours on the same point. But I do agree with you, man. It's like at some point people are going to just forget about Ben Simmons. It's going to be the
Yep.
Simmons effect where it's like, yeah, you're good, but you're not
What you
you're,
were
you're
supposed to be.
what's the word I'm looking for? You're not trans. uh Shoot, what's the word I'm looking for right now? Like you're not gonna wow anybody. You're not changing the game in any sense of the word. Like when we talk
Yeah.
about like plays or teams, like those type of things. Like you're not doing that. And
Yeah, he's not gonna have any type of leap or, 25 points a game, 10
yeah.
rebounds, defensive, like it's not gonna happen.
Oh,
Like,
transcending was the word I'm looking
oh,
for. He's not
transcending. Yeah, he's
he's
not
not a transcending
transcending in the right
superstar.
direction.
Like no,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's one of those things like you keep looking at it and you keep thinking like, okay, are you gonna transcend the game? Are you gonna take it to the next level? And game in and game out, especially in the like I know we can do that in the regular season. I've seen it before. Like I've seen that same song and dance with him. The question has never been like, is he a good player in the regular season? The question has always been for those guys, especially going to the 76ers organization, can they get over the big hump and win the big games? And time in and time again, as the number one seed, they have shown that they are not ready for it.
Yeah. I'm curious to see, man. We're gonna be in for something very soon because the clock is ticking and it's almost that time for him to showcase. So we'll see. But I just think this isn't like a permanent stay. This is a audition. He'll probably be out in probably 20 games or less, probably even 10, just to show, other organizations what he worked on. Okay, are you
Hmm.
shooting? Are you scared to even drive to the basket? It's a wide open lane. Like they want to see something. Because
Exactly.
when you're talking about a guy of so-called his caliber that the Sixers are portraying him to be, he has to make a big leap as far as I'm concerned.
Hmm.
Those first 10 games, he better be averaging like 22 points a game,
Yeah.
7 to 8 rebounds, 3 steals. Like he better be all world because they're asking for like a James Harden type package.
Right. And that's the thing, like you kind of were spot on with it, Tyrese. I just
Hmm.
kind of want to say a little bit really quick, just kind of to breaking news, somewhat right. Ben Simmons reports to the Philadelphia 76ers. Adrian Wojnarowski said it. Tyrese kind of said it earlier in the show, but I just kind of want to read it and just kind of reiterate what some of the points that Tyrese made earlier. He is in Philadelphia. He reported to the Wells Fargo
Yeah.
Center Monday night. He took his COVID test in the arena, so they obviously have to wait a couple days to wait for the results and stuff like that. I believe he's vaccinated, so that's a good sign for the
That's good.
76ers. They don't have to deal with some of the stuff that other organizations are dealing with at this moment. Uh, but and this the 70 Simmons, I should say, his arrival concluded several weeks of discussions between the organization and Simmons representative, Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul. And that's the other thing I kind of want to bring up too, Tyrese, before we kind of end this topic and move on. I do want to talk about the players that got in trouble for the root canals. That was
Oh
ridiculous.
man, that was. It's like, is it even worth it for $4 million to go to like jail and have
Yeah.
your name
Mm-hmm.
discredited from everything? You can't
Yep.
even go on ESPN to fill in for Kendrick Perkins if it came down to it. Like for Big
Mm-hmm.
Baby Davis, like he's done, man. Like doing insurance fraud, like
Yep.
what was this from 2012? And it was like for like $230,000. It's like it's not even worth doing. It's
Yeah.
like he was making millions of dollars. It's like, how could you like I don't
Yeah.
understand that. Like he honestly deserves to get caught and like, get punished, dude, because that's crazy.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I seen that. I think it was him and it was another Tony Allen, I think, as well.
Yep. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the only thing I wanted to kind of conclude with the Ben Simmons stuff is that, like, when I read this out loud and it says that, it arrives with the discussion between the organization and Simmons representative Rich Paul, it just kind of
Hmm.
goes to show me that Ben Simmons isn't involved in any of the discussions and the ongoing conversations. Like, I understand that's why you hire an agent. That's what they're there to do. But at the same time, you also want to state your desires as well in person. Like it means more when I hear Ben Simmons be like, "Look, I've tried everything I could to win here at the organization, but I feel like my skills are being not appreciative, or if I feel like I can do better in a different place." And instead, it's just been like a game of telephone with Ben Simmons, with his
Yeah.
representative and Rich Paul and the 76ers organization. And, eventually you do have to talk to them face to face. Like, you're not going to be able to hide behind Rich Paul all this time, especially if you're wanting to get your money. It's like you're going to have to report to
Yeah.
training camp. And then you're going to have like the awkward tension when you're there with, Joel Embiid and the rest of those guys. Like, are we going to see like Simmons shooting by himself at the gym? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's something we got to look out for.
Just to chime in really quick before we move on. I don't know, man. Like Ben Simmons, he just doesn't have a motor to me. He just doesn't have that winning mentality like that dog. Like I just don't see how they think this guy's a next generational type of player. He's just not. Like just from emotion, like for one, he doesn't want to work on his game, obviously, and that's rule
Mm-hmm.
number one. And two, he's not coachable because he I don't know, man. Like I just yeah, he's downgraded with me. I think he's on like the Chandler Parsons type route, man.
Oh,
Like
wow.
he's gonna be getting booed. Like if even if somehow they can't trade him and he's there just sitting on the bench, if he comes in garbage time, he's just gonna get booed like Chandler did. That's what it's gonna be, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's because Philly's a cruel place, man. Like you see, they were burning his jersey after the damn series. Like they don't want him, man.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody does. You don't want to deal with a player that like, isn't really into like helping you win championships, isn't interested in working on his game. Um,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the frustrating thing about it is like, they're not really, um, really there to. He's not really there to, just to kind of end it. Like I just don't think that he's really interested in working on his game, working on becoming a better player, working on becoming an all NBA player. You know, Rich Paul, I think he does deserve some of the blame a little bit for this because I do think that he allowed Ben Simmons to think that he was on the echelon of like LeBron James or like these great players that have gotten the supermax. Um,
Yeah.
and the
Well,
pr-
I mean, you can't really blame Rich, right? Because he's just the guy who's marketing his players, who are under contract with him. So he's a great marketer. You got to give it to him, but
yeah, I mean,
I think. a lot of teams are going to start examining these players who he's putting a lot on, like Blazely and some of these other guys who he's putting a lot of stock in, and they're not even they're like they're not performing.
Yeah, and what I
So I
meant more
think he could
so,
lose credibility.
and
Sorry
more
about
so,
that.
what? No, you're good. The only thing I was gonna say more so about that stuff is more so like, and I keep saying that. My thing with Rich Paul is that I think you need to be able to read the room. Like, you need to be able to be truthful with your client and really, I feel like, dig into the numbers. Like, yeah, LeBron can tell you, like, yeah, the 76ers, yeah, they'll pay for it. They'll don't worry about it. Like, Ben Simmons, he'll be out there in no time. Whether he talks to LeBron or not, his line of thinking is that basically the organization, whatever organization he gets traded to, will be there. But really, the organization still has the power, because they could literally just say, we're not going to pay you. And they've
Yeah.
shown through this whole thing that, look, we can call your bluff. Like, you can want to trade, you can want out of here, but at the end of the day, we paid you, we gave you the max money, we've done our part to satisfy you in that aspect. Now, can you help us win games and win a championship? And Simmons obviously has his way, his type of feel that he has for them, and it's a frustrating one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. Like I I just think Ben Simmons is done. Like I just can't see how he can redeem himself, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's he could if he worked on his game, but I just think he's not fully invested in playing ball, man. I just seriously don't think so, man. Like he has the money now. He has a supermodel girlfriend. He's dated a Jenner. He has the clout. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's set for the rest of his life. If he has kids in the future, they're set for future generations. He has the endorsements. Like I just think he's not invested in putting more work into his craft.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, man. Like not showing up, missing money, not reporting, not communicative, shooting down your teammates who flew to LA. I think they fly to LA and he didn't even want to meet up with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's like I don't know, man. That's childish and like just like that's really not professional. Like it's he's not it just looks to me he's not fully invested in playing ball anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Um. Exactly. And let us know in the comment section down below, what do you guys make of this Ben Simmons news? Officially reporting to 76ers camp as of Adrian Wojnarowski as of 7:47 p.m. on the 11th.
And I'll
So
just add to this, if he really was, why is LA or a California team the only team? It just doesn't make any sense.
I
Like
think
there's
he'll
other
I think he'll
teams.
widen his trade request, because I think at the end of the day, the damage has been done to the organizations. Both both the player and the organization have kind of, they felt some type of way, and so we'll see officially, how it goes. But let us know in the
Yeah.
comment section down below, what do you guys make of this whole thing? Is it something that you guys are interested in? Like, what do you guys make of this? Let us know in the comment section down below, because I'd love to know what you guys think of this whole Ben Simmons fiasco. Again, officially has reported to 76ers camp, and we'll see whether or not he does the injury thing, or whether or not he plays and tries to show out his new set of skills. So again, let us know in the comment section down below. All right, Tyrese, let's talk about kind of the final topic of the day. And then again, guys, we will be live streaming. If you guys are interested, we will be live streaming talking about the NBA preseason predictions and all that stuff on Friday. My boy Pete got a day off. We're going to talk about it. Tyrese, you are
Hey,
more than welcome to join us on that show. Um,
awesome.
let's talk
All right,
about this
cool.
player fraud in terms of what is going on here. So let me kind of read the story here. So it says 18 former NBA players, including Big Baby Davis, charged an alleged $4 million health insurance fraud. And Tyrese, you kind of said it at the beginning. It's like, Why are you going for $4 million? Like, not even worth
For
it. Like,
4 million,
like,
it's like
I know Tony Roten was part of it, and then like Tony Roten was like, he could have had another contract. He was working on it, but it is what it is. Um,
it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. But let me
Like,
kind of read what the story goes on to say. So 18 former NBA players, including former Celtics Clippers player Ronald Glenn Baby Davis, have been arrested and charged with defrauding the NBA's health and welfare benefit plan out of nearly $4 million. The ex-players are accused of submitting false reimbursement claims from around 2017 to 2020 for medical and dental services that were not actually purchased, according to an indictment filed in federal court in the Southern District of New York, or SDNY. Those false claims totaled to $3.9 million. According to the indictment, players received about $2.5 million in total fraudulent proceeds, with each receiving as little as $65,000 to as much as $420,000. Jesus.
man.
The benefit plans provided by the NBA and the National Basketball Players Association to our players are critically important to support their health and well-being throughout their playing careers over the course of their lives, which makes these allegations particularly disheartening, the NBA said in a statement Thursday. The league noted that it will cooperate with the U.S. Attorney Office in the matter. The NBA Players Association also said in a statement late Tuesday that it is aware of the indictment and will continue to monitor the situation. The FBI arrested 16 of the defendants Tuesday morning in 12 districts across the country, said Michael Driscoll, the assistant director in charge of FBI's New York field office. One of the defendant, former Portland Trailblazer Sebastian Telfair, will be presented late Thursday before SDNY magistrate judge. SDNY attorney Audrey Strauss added. The remaining players will be represented before the judges in their districts of arrest. The FBI and the New York Police Department Healthcare Fraud Task Force are conducting an investigation into the scheme, according to Strauss. And again, Terrence Williams is one of the players out there. Apparently Terrence Williams, the 11th overall pick in the 2009 draft by the New Jersey Nets, allegedly recruited other NBA players by offering fabricated invoices to be used in false claims in exchange for payment of kickback to him. According to the indictment, Williams received about $230,000 in kickbacks from the players. When one defendant failed to pay for the false documentation and kickbacks, Williams allegedly tried to frighten the player into re-engaging by impersonating an employee who processed the healthcare claims, and then there was an issue, Strauss noted. Williams also alleged the three of the ex-players, Davis, Watson Jr., and Antoine Wright, obtained fabricated letters of medical necessity to justify some of the services, which include false invoices, were based. Several false invoices, medical necessity forms stood out because they had unusual formatting, they had grammatical errors, and they were sent to the same dates from the different offices, the indictment said. So Strauss pointed out the notable errors in the fraudulent document, noting that former player Gregory Smith submitted invoices for a root canal in Beverly Hills when he was in fact playing basketball in Taiwan at the time. Again, I will...
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I just had to laugh.
It's ridiculous. A few of the claims were indicted for identical procedures on the same day, according to Strauss. For example, 3 players claimed to have root canals on the same 16th on April 30th, 2016, and crowns on the same 16th on May 11th, 2016. Oh, God. Man. If you want to talk about just like absolutely some of the dumbest stuff in the world that you could do, this is to me, like, as funny as it is, and it is funny because these players, they don't think like they don't think that the FBI is gonna wonder, or like, where are you guys getting that extra money from? Like, the FBI, people that are interested in finances of these NBA players, of any sort of particular clout, they're gonna look at whatever you make, whatever you do, and be like, wait a minute. How did you get an extra $420,000 of income? Like, what did you do? Yeah. Like, you did your Fox Sports, and that doesn't pay that much. And to me, or like your ESPN, and to me, that is like maybe not the frustrating, but it's just like some of these guys could have gotten similar to that money. Maybe you had to do a little bit more work instead of frauding, or forging some signed documents about your root canals and whatever else they had to do, and crowns on the same teeth. To me, it's like, can we use some common sense, people, when it comes to, like, if you're going to be a fraud, if you're going to do all this fraudulent scheming and anything of that sort, be smart about it. Don't be dumb. And that's the thing. Like, there's a reason why it's hard to do that stuff and to keep it going on. Tyrese, you take it away, man. Like, I just can't believe the stupidity of some of these guys. Like, to really think that they're gonna get away with that stuff.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, how are you gonna say you were getting your teeth done in Beverly Hills, but you were in Taiwan? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But that just goes to show to a lot of these guys who are making millions of dollars. They think, oh, like nobody's not gonna tell. Like, come on, man. Like these agencies literally play whistleblowers to, there's literally a pool of money for people to like tell on people for doing fraudulent stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, nobody's safe. For one, they should have thought of that.
Yep.
Because who knows who could have told on them, like what they did. It could have been a former agent who was doing their books or a financial. You never know who it could have been, and it bited all of them in the ass. Like that's not even worth doing, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think I see here one guy did it for like $7,500. Who is it? Let me see. Straw said this conspiracy was led by Terrence Williams, who began his NBA career as a first-round pick in 2009. And Diamond said he submitted 19,000 in fraudulent claims to the plan in November 2017 for chiropractic care. The claims led to a 76-72 payout for Williams. That is crazy. Like, why would you do fraud for 19 grand?
Yeah, and these players, I don't really think that they really think about that stuff when they're, trying to, kind of get as much money as possible. Like these 18 players, like, they could be struggling, they could be doing their thing. And that's the problem. Like, I really think that these players, they just kind of were in an unfortunate time of there wasn't that kind of financial literacy, programs out there.
For sure. Yeah.
And the NBA has, kind of done a really better job of that. And to kind of say like, okay, your contract says $4 million, but what does that really mean? Like, here's your base salary. Here's what you get. Here's what you don't get. And this is, what you have to pay for, if you want to pay for a house, you want to pay for a car, do all that stuff and really kind of go through the books with them to understand it. And these guys, I really think that they kind of blew their money. And they're looking for, more ways to get more money, try to make a quick buck, try to make easy profits. And unfortunately, it bit them in the butt because they decided like, why should I work when I can just cheat the system? And the problem is that when you do cheat the system, eventually that system will let people know that, hey, look, these guys aren't doing anything for this money. And, you talked about it, like whistleblowers, like anybody will snitch on you. Like you give them money, you give them like, hey, you'll get jail time. People snitch. Like I know that there's this culture of like, snitches get stitches and like, all this other stuff, but there is no code.
No,
there's no code.
And like a lot of these agencies, like the Securities and Exchange, like they literally set aside a pool of money for whistleblowers.
Yep.
And you won't know who they are. You don't know who they're connected to, but they know everything that you have going on financially and they'll tell it for a payout. So, and I was shocked to even see Big Baby Davis on there because I know for sure he was making at least a minimum of, $1 million salary at minimum because he was a pretty good contributor for us. So I'm pretty sure, he wasn't like, and then Tony Allen, like I didn't understand that one either. Like, what are these guys doing with their money? They're like making millions of dollars, and they were doing fraud for a total of $230,000 of payouts of kickback. Mm-hmm. That's like, what the hell?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
To me, it just kind of again goes to show that there's nobody in their life to really guide them through financial literacy, to really get to know the books and to understand like this is, what happens to your money. Like, you have to, like, they have to understand that going forward from here on out, because the only way that you're ever going to understand that, is really to kind of watch your money go. And I think that should be a life lesson for these guys to be like, okay, the next job I get, the next thing that I do, I'm not going to lose my money that way. And the problem is that they continue to do it. And again, I find it frustrating because I know that, you know, guys like Tony Allen can get a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I just think the newer guys in this generation will be fine just because it's easier ways for them to even make revenues or invest their money, the social media, the endorsements, back then in 2009, there wasn't social media it was no Instagram back then. Facebook was barely out. It wasn't like ad revenues or anything like that. So,
yeah.
It's a lot different now. I doubt players nowadays would do, but who knows? Like, there could be players doing this right now for all we know, who haven't gotten caught.
Exactly. So
we're
we'll
doing
see.
even bigger payouts.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Again, this is just a quick story. It happened over the weekend. I just kind of wanted to talk about it because, I just wanted to bring up just kind of the stupidity of it all and just kind of like why do you ruin your careers and ruin your life? Whether maybe they have kids that they're finally able to see because they're done with their playing career. Now they won't be able to get to see them depending on the charges that they get. Maybe they'll get, the Wolf of Wall Street prison time and, sentencing where they just kind of go to the Danbury Penitentiary. But who knows, man? It's a frustrating situation. To me, it's just, this to me is not working smarter. This to me is working dumber. So, really, guys, make sure you're not involved in any schemes like this. Like, eventually it comes out, you get exposed. Please, 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 please be smart with it and smart with the money.
Yes.
But with that being said, Tyrese, I think that is going to do it for the charge.
Awesome. Yeah. I had a great show tonight.
Yeah, definitely was a great show. Appreciate you coming on. And again, guys, wanted to let you guys and reiterate the same points that I made earlier. We will be live streaming on Friday. I will confirm times with my boy Pete, so be on the lookout for that. But we do have a stream Friday. We're going to talk about the NBA preseason show. We're going to talk about the preseason predictions, who we think is going to be first, second, all the way to 10 because of the playing game. And then we're going to talk, of course, about the award show, who's going to win the awards, what's going to go on in that situation. And it is going to be a lot of fun. So stay tuned. Get ready here on The Charge because we will be talking about that. And we are looking forward to bringing you the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions with a little bit of analytical data as well to talk about for the near future. But anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you once again for joining me here on The Charge. And thank you, Tyrese, for coming onto the show once again. Always appreciative of you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you for having me. And I look forward to Friday of doing the preseason prediction.
Perfect. Anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you once again for joining me here on The Charge, give you the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. And remember, guys, there is a store. There's merchandise. Again, this stuff to me, if you guys support the channel, if you mess with us heavy, perfect. There's merch there for you to buy it. My main thing, and I know I'm on this thing right here. My main thing, please go to the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure to like our content. Make sure to hit that notification bell to make sure that you never miss a YouTube video from us. Make sure you never miss great content that we have here on The Charge. Of course, like I said, we have numerous amount of videos here on the channel. Please check it out. Go and see what videos kind of connect with you. See what videos you appreciate. And at the end of the day, I would love it if you guys kind of mess with the channel. Again, getting to that magic 1,000 number is going to get us to doing more content for you guys, more live streaming, a lot more stuff, and I'm hoping that you guys can really mess with us because again, I want to give back to you guys. I want to give back to the community and let them know that this is what I want to do for you guys. But with that being said, thank you once again for joining us here on The Charge, giving the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. Please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe, and we will catch you on the next video. Peace out, everybody. I never would? Dang, that's tough, Sean. I was hoping that you would. Anyway, guys, peace out, everybody.